Welcome to Pure Genuine, where we dive into authentic experience like never before. Yes, 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 yes. Do you like that? Do you like that?
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay, good. If you're new or not, it's me, Frenchie Hana, and I have a special guest right here. I have Rio right
Hello.
here, and you might know them from Kiki Podcast. Well, this person is here on the Pure Genuine. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Rio, can you let them know a little bit about yourself? The ones that don't know, and the ones, just a reminder to the people that have been here. You just been switched over to Pure Genuine. It was once called Kiki Podcast. Now it's Pure Genuine. Just let them know a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, let me just say I love what you've done with the place. It's really nice, this revamp that you've had with Pure Genuine. I love it. I just want to say that my name is Rio Antone. I am a artist, educator, and entertainer. I also double as an activist, a human rights activist at that. I really enjoy the work that I do. You can probably see me all around the community and sometimes on national platforms creating change and spreading my ladyboy spunk all over the place. And I'm just really excited to be here.
Yes, nice, 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 nice. So, Pure Genuine, genuine conversations, genuine experiences, and just doing genuine things outside of this too. That is Pure Genuine. And it all comes back to we're here.
Absolutely.
Pure Genuine. So, the topic that we are going to talk about is anti-trans, and queer, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, tell me a little bit about that. And what do you think about what's going on right now in the community and other communities are looking in at, LGBT and what they want and don't want, and what do you think about it right now?
Well, it's such a broad question, but I'm gonna make sure that I try to reel it in.
I know that's what happened last time when I had you for the Kiki podcast. I said like 3 questions in one. And I was just like, why did I do that? I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, but at least you answered it though. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the rundown of what is happening right now around America is that there is a lot of anti-trans legislative and laws that's happening that is about the LGBTQ and queer cultures, but like I said, specifically targeting trans identity. And there has been since 2021 all the way now to 2024. There has been over 518 anti-trans legislation, which is laws that has been put up as possibilities to become laws in almost all the states across America. Of those, 15 has already been passed, which means that these is laws that can take away your human rights as somebody who want access to health care, somebody who is young who wants to have access to medical treatment or access to being able to do hormone blockers, as somebody in states to where just showing up as who you are as a trans individual can be considered a criminal offense, and you can be ticketed or go to jail in some of these states. They're trying to take out the idea of having queer rhetoric and conversations inside of schools, which means that you would not be able to have educations systems that involve anything to do with the LGBTQ community. They're trying to take out the idea of conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion inside of workplaces and jobs. Diversity, equity, inclusion includes the fact of everybody who is not specifically tailored into a systematic white heterosexual format. So if you don't include into that, you're included in diversity, equity, inclusion.
You know what's crazy? I was at this lounge, and this this non-binary person. That's how they identify themselves, and they were saying if it's not in the white eyes of things,
But wait, what was that?
what?
Why did you do non-binary person? What was that for?
Because it's just like I don't know like how they want it to be, but it's like it's always different,
Did you ask?
huh?
Did you ask?
Yeah. So it was like going back and forth. So that's why I said non-binary. So I just know that's like the most broadest thing that's out right now. So I'm just saying just flat out non-binary. So yeah, this person was just like, if it's not in the white like eyes, or didn't say just like this, but just like in the white spectrum, it's just like it's not gonna go. And I was just like, what the heck? And that made me feel like so uncomfortable. And I was just like, huh?
So wait, I'm confused. What is it that they said? They were saying that in a wide.
Yeah, like how you see things in the white eyes, or like being non-binary and in the laws of attraction of things, or what you see within society. It's just like, that's just what it is. And it's just like, huh? I was like,
I
yeah.
do think that the world is changing. And I do think that we're in a place where people can be more of who they are. I do think that it makes people uncomfortable. I think we
Yeah.
should talk about the elephant in the room.
You know, we gotta make people feel uncomfortable. We gotta be in those spaces where it feels uncomfortable to make other people uncomfortable. Because you know why? At the end of it all, that's when the respect comes in. That's when they start to like be loyal, not like loyal to whatever you want for them to do for you. It's just more like you come around, they be like, oh, this person. So they be loyal like that. Within like seeing you in public eyes, seeing you in certain rooms, they're just like, and that comes down to respect. They're just respecting you, even though they don't. It's not their thing. It's something new, and it's not their forte. They see in their walk of life, but it's here, and it's new for me too. A lot of this stuff, it's like, cause I be so away and be like doing other stuff where like I don't be knowing what's going on, even though I'm trans as well. I'm trans. I'm transgender woman. I'm a woman of trans experience. But there's a lot of stuff, that's going into law and trying to like get banned, and the community is trying to fight for it to have there to be passed and accepted. It's a lot that I don't know and didn't know.
I agree. I think it's the same thing for a lot of people who are inside of our community. I think a lot of people lack information because a
Because
lot of times it's like a survival mode situation that's going on for a lot of people in our trans community, or just different parts of our LGBT community in general. And also, it's very separated. You would assume that just because we're all under the alphabet mafia, that we all kind of know what's going on, but we don't. But I'm glad you said that, because I'm be honest with you, this raises a beautiful opportunity for us to discuss more. Since you identify as a trans woman and I identify
yes.
as trans non-binary, I know that in our multitude of conversations, we've had to have a lot of educational conversations, because like you said, you lacked the understanding of like what that meant. But that right there alone is what creates opportunity for us to work together. So if you don't know who you need to fight for, then you also won't know when to step up to fight. So I think it's really important to bring education into the forefront, which is why I dedicate a lot of my life to educating people about stuff like this.
Oh, did you let them know that you're an educator?
I did. I think I let them know a couple times. But the reality of it is that education wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was something that I was called to do. But I will say this, is that a lot of times me having to tell people about gender identity is not for the sake of trying to save a life. It's for the sake of trying to create camaraderie.
Right.
A lot of people who have an issue with me when they first meet me, it's because they don't know me. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's because they haven't took the time to get to understand me. So I am blessed with the understanding of knowing how to meet them halfway.
Okay.
Not everybody has that desire or ability, but I feel like I do. And I think it's important to teach people how to treat you, right? And it's the
Got it.
same thing with laws. We got to teach people how to treat us because they're creating laws out of fear, not because they know us, but because they're scared of us. It's like being an X-Men and mutants. You get what I'm saying? I feel like we're doing the Charles Xavier focus quest.
Charles Xavier.
Yeah, you know how he was like him versus Magneto. Charles was like, oh, mutants can be coinciding with humans one day. I feel like not to be funny, but I feel like trans individuals or LGBTQ queer people, it can be considered mutants in this kind of storyline. And I'm one of those people who
I see
believe,
how you're relating that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm one of those people that believe that education and connection and this energy of creating camaraderie can create that gap, bridge that gap, to where we can like have a better relationship with each other. So I use my time educating not just people who, in our community, but people outside of our community
Right.
who
Okay.
needs to know what it is that we're doing and who we
Okay.
are. So that's what I think is important.
You know what I see from people that's not within the community, and they just like accepting what's here. They just don't care. They don't care as long as I'm just like putting myself in it. I don't care if it's here. Like, why does it matter? And they just go and worry about their own life and whatever they got going on. If it's there, it's there. It's not hurting me. It's not killing me. Well, let it be. I
I
mean,
agree. I think that this energy of nonchalantness is something that a lot of people do. I think that like it can be very damning, if for lack of a better word. It can be something that can create more issues than not, only because if you are not a part of the solution, you are a part of the problem, because you are choosing to sit idly by and act ignorant to the idea of what is necessarily needed. There's strength in numbers. There is strength in using your voice to create change, not just for yourself, but other people. And if you're not moving just for the sake of humanity, then that means that you're only moving for the sake of yourself. And that's not a good way to live, to be so selfish, to not to as to not care enough about the person next to you well-being, because you might be happy with your life, but what about this person who is getting treated so badly every day and don't know where to go or where to turn to or have no resources? And because you are okay and comfortable with where you are, this person gets a blind eye turned to. They don't get the help that they need. That is, to me, why I feel like it's important to always be somebody who decides to speak up, even if it makes you uncomfortable.
yeah. I mean, yeah. There's just people out there that's just like that. They just see it and like, okay, well, what does that got to do with me?
I agree.
Yeah. So can't see no shoes.
I know. I wore these bomb shoes for y'all, and I can't even have them looked. It's okay, because I'll probably do a photo before, I leave, so that way I can get a full frame of the look. But it's very cute nonetheless. But aside from basically the heaviness of
Oh,
that,
well, before you say that, there's people in the community that don't know what's going on with the laws or other people's walk of life, because they're getting accepted in different rooms, like just like straight people would, I don't know if I said that correctly, but
you said it the best way you knew how.
because yeah, because I feel straight all the way. It might not be like how other people see it as, but I feel 100% straight. It's just certain things. Well,
Well, what is it?
here's the
Just so I
thing.
can understand,
Here's the
what do you
thing.
mean by straight people rooms? Like, what is these rooms you speak of?
Straight people room is there's nobody gay in the room.
So,
There's
straight people rooms is the absence of any gay people.
any gay people, yes.
And what is gay?
Gay is here's my thing with gay
Like
is,
if I'm in that room, would I be considered one of the gay people in the room?
um, you know, many different walks of life will probably say that. Others won't. Others just wouldn't care.
But what would you say?
Well, well, if I didn't know you at all, I would probably say gay.
Really?
If I never ever seen
And
you,
why
met
is
you,
that?
because I never met you, I don't know who you
So
are.
why gay?
Because that's just what it's given.
Tell me why.
Because the things your body language, the way you speak, the yeah, the way you speak, the film in you, yeah, stuff like that. And then people are confused with me too when they be like straight. They be like, no, you're gay. But then I have some people tell me that's like you just you, and I get that a lot. You just you.
Right. So, just to reiterate, you're saying that to show up into a room where you feel like it is majority straight people, and if I was to walk into that room, it would turn it into a room where it is not full of straight people. It's like a gay person is in a room, and your definition
Or a
and the
different, or
reason
a
why,
different, a different, a
and not
different
based it
human
off
being.
of other people, but just your ideology
No,
alone.
because I've been in different spaces, in different rooms, and you
So
know that
based
for
off,
me.
so based off of your ideology alone, you're saying that straight would, I mean, it would be considered gay because of what it's giving, and what it's
Yeah,
giving is like feminine qualities, is what you said,
you
or
know,
what did you say?
androgynous.
Androgynous.
But here's the thing with androgynous. Androgynous can go many different ways. Because you see some of these rappers, they're looking very androgynous.
Okay. So let's go ahead and break this down just real quick, because this is a good example of like trying to be able to understand how to bridge those gaps correctly, especially within our own community. If you are somebody who identifies as a trans woman, identify as trans non-binary, and we're having conversations. You just said you identify as straight. I've never identified since learning and really engaging with my identity as a gay person, because I'm not gay, right? So my definition of gay is probably different than yours, but that's the reason why I ask, what does gay look like to you? It is coming from almost what seems like a heteronormative ideology, which is like, okay, this is how straight people would perceive gay, so this is how I perceive gay. It's almost like
No,
a
I'm
self.
saying because listen, listen. We have past stories. I've been knowing about the community since I was like 4. Only thing that's new is what's in present moment is non-binary. That's the only thing that's new. Now, I'm saying for other people, there's people
I
that are
asked you about
there,
you though.
huh?
I said you. I said what I said. The whole conversation or basis of that was about if I walked in a room and you said you said if you didn't know me, you would perceive me as that. You said just from not knowing you.
Yeah,
So
and
we're not
and
talking about
and
any of that.
and and if I never like heard of non-binary, like I did, and I was so like, what the
And
hell?
that's understandable.
And then I just
I
like,
think that the question really kind of goes into the idea of what makes gay the ideology
but
for anything that is queer. Why do you
but
say
only
gay
only ways
as a trans person?
only only look, people can get clocked, you know.
Clocked.
Yes, clock. But you don't know what clock mean?
I absolutely know what clocked mean, but I don't
So
understand how that
so
references
so
me.
so so some people can get clocked and be like, boom, I already know it's straight up. And some people you just gotta find out by conversation.
All right. So here's what the T is, right? Clocked would be so crazy as an ideology to use for a non-binary person, only because we are non-binary. There is clocked would insinuate that you're trying to pass as something, or your objective is to only be seen as one
No,
thing.
clock is you know what they are.
What am I?
You are non-binary, a non-binary person.
Right. Okay. So
So just like how we were at the Pride Festival, and we are sitting on that bench or whatever, and that boy came up and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're a so beautiful, non-binary person." It's clocked. He clocked that already. He didn't ask you.
I'm sure because I'm wearing like a Rick Ross beard.
He clocked you.
Listen,
And then the way you was dressing
I
too.
just would like to say that the terminology is so outdated. Only
How's that outdated? It's
because the idea of clocking will only be insinuating that you're trying to be cloaked as something. Clocking
cloaked.
goes hand in hand with cloaking. Cloaking means hiding or being able to be elusive or being able to be under the radar, being able to be passable. So if you are being clockable, that means that you are the opposite of cloakable. So with that being said, it's so
No,
crazy. Wait a minute. I just want to make sure that I get this ideology out. It is crazy,
your perspective of
my
it.
perspective. It's crazy to think of a non-binary person who literally is the definition of the opposite of gender normacy, and being like, "Oh, you got clocked." Clocked about what? Like, that is actually the goal. The goal is to literally be seen as
Yes, there
opposite of
are
gender.
people that are okay of being clocked because
But
they're being their true
being
self.
clocked is a terminology more so for those who are falling more into the cis normative version of trans identity,
No,
like a trans woman or a trans
no,
man,
no, no, no,
not
no,
somebody who's non-binary.
no, no. That's not okay. That's your perspective, but that's not what it
Well, tell
is.
me why
So
you think that.
because being clocked is just people just already knowing like what you are. There can be a whole straight man walking around. Well, what is straight? What is gay? Correct. So it can be a man or a boy or a woman or a little girl, teenage or whatever, walking around, old, it don't matter, walking around, and somebody can be like, that person's gay.
Mm.
That person's flamboyant. Like just straight up, already just like knowing it straight up. Well, I don't even have to ask. They just know straight up. It's just like when you see like somebody when you're going somewhere like that person's a biker.
Okay,
It's
well,
like that. You're
listen
just
to me.
clocking
I
things.
feel like we would have to agree to disagree
Oh, P
on.
Diddy. It's like that. And you just clocked it. Like, oh, P Diddy did this. Like before all this happened. Like it was like a long time ago, or whatever. And we just like somebody clocked it. Like, oh my God, P Diddy did da 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 da. It don't gotta be off of like gender, sexuality. It's just like what you do, and it could be all in all. It's just
I get what
genders.
you're saying. We just gonna have to agree to disagree on that specific topic, only because, like I said, I think that the idea of clocking someone goes into frame of saying, "Gotcha, I see who you are," and it's almost as if the idea is to once again not be clocked. The idea of being clocked, especially in terminology of queer culture, has been used as a terminology of saying you didn't pass the test. You are seen. We see you for who you are. And I genuinely do think that a lot of the terminology that we use in queer culture is really outdated and really toxic, and I think that is very judgy. And that's one of them, like that whole like clocking thing. But that's a conversation for yet another day. I will say that I think that it is really, to me, very funny when we are, because if we're talking about the idea of like rights and fighting for our rights, there is a usual basis where I get so much love and admiration from people all parts of our community, but there is a rare group of individuals who are both young, when I want to say young, I mean like early 30s, and people who are real older trans women who are very disrespectful towards me and some of the people in the non-binary community, whether it be online or in person, because they lack the information, because they feel that we're not performing gender identity the way that they would perform gender identity. And I think that's a real big problem. And the reason why I think it's a real big problem is because who are you? The police, the gender police, to tell someone that their gender identity is not inclusive, is not considerably valid because it don't look like yours, sounds extremely familiar. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like when cishet people tell you
You
that you're
calling cis
gender.
heads? Like I say, old heads. You said cis heads.
Cishet people, it reminds
That's
me of when
funny.
cishet people tell you that your gender identity is not real because it doesn't look like theirs. The idea of wanting somebody to respect you and then turn around and disrespecting the person next to you because they don't look like you is bonkers to me. It's crazy. And I think that until we get this like divisive ideology out of our heads to where we think with a more energy of like oneness, it's going to always be that way. And I find that to be kind of scary. So I do limit the way I communicate with a lot of people in our community because some of the people in our community are ignorant.
Yeah, that's the community. When did you
Yeah.
start finding out that? Like,
Well,
cause I've been
it
knowing
hit.
that my whole
I feel
entire
like
life.
I always knew, but let's just say over the past wow, I've learned a lot more about it. But I
Yeah,
digress. Keep going.
yeah, I noticed that in
I
2014.
noticed that in 2023.
Oh, I knew that in 2014.
Yeah.
2014, I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, these some shady. These are some shady mother.
So
But
it's not about the quick quips
it's
and
more.
shade is a part of our culture. So I don't care about that part. I genuinely dislike the blatant disrespect, disregard, and ignorance because ignorance destroys and decays relationships, especially inner working relationships that is necessary right now. Once again, we are fighting for our rights as trans individuals of every variety, and the conversation should not be turned on who is trans enough versus who isn't trans enough. It should be about, okay, let's work collectively together so that way our voice is bigger to create safe places for us across the world. People are dying. We've had over 400 individuals die from murder over the past 3 years. 400 trans and gender nonconforming individuals. Because, I mean, let's look at the idea of Next Benedict, this 16-year-old who just got killed, who was murdered. A 16-year-old was murdered. And we have
Oh yeah,
and
I seen that.
the
I
conversation
seen that.
and me who is doing the work along with several other people with various variety of gender
Yeah,
identities.
it's crazy.
And some of the conversation that comes back is gatekeeping as individuals who don't understand the importance. Since you so trans and you so like you're the epitome of
Yeah, I
trans, where
seen
is your
that.
voice? Where are you showing up at? Why you ain't pulling up? Because if you not pulling up, you have no right to discuss this person's identity because it don't look like yours. It's given very much toxic, very much full of yourself.
Yeah, I just seen that like 2 days ago. The 16-year-old. I was like, whoa. Yeah, it's. I'm not gonna say how she died, but because I know, but
They, them is their pronouns.
they them. Well, it says trans, so I don't know. But okay, now I know.
Once again, here we go. Let's
So
ride the school bus. Okay, here we go. Non-binary
I
trans is a
said,
part of the trans
I
spectrum, so that's
said,
why I said
I
trans.
no. Listen, I said I didn't know that.
You said
It
it said
said
trans, so
yeah. So I just
as in
said,
like trans only means what to you?
well, we're in today's day and age, so it's what wasn't to something else now. So
Well, what I didn't ask
because
that. I'm asking you, not the politically correct. What does it mean to you? What does trans mean to you? Honestly,
well, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna talk about the past. I'm talking about
yeah.
what is
Now, for you
today.
currently, what does it mean for you?
Today, what I'm seeing is that they, them, or trans, and there's transgender individuals as well that's been around, but non-binary came. What you said, it's always been around. It just wasn't a label to it. And when I say label, you don't like when I say that, but it is. You're calling it something. You're calling it non-binary.
I didn't say that.
So no, this is like past. So
I don't mind a label because that is a way in which you can say that this is what it is. But to me, the antithesis of being non-binary is the opposite of labeling in general. I just think
Did
that
you ever see on the application? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just think that the world needs to be able to understand everything in a more like strategic way. So they try to label stuff, even the unlabeled. So that's the reason why it's that. I don't too much go for the label. That's even with my gender identity. When people ask me about my pronouns, as you already know, I always say universal pronouns because for me, I don't try to sully myself with the idea of like, this is what I am. It transforms and it mutates all the time for me. So I don't want to be boxed in into an expectation telling you that this is what I identify as when I know that it's much larger than that. So I don't try to tell people how to identify me. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
you, who do identify specifically as a trans woman, correct?
Yes. Yeah, trans woman.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But a woman of trans experience,
Mm-hmm.
and
I love that.
there's the reason why I say that because I can't physically be a woman. So
Mm-hmm.
all I know is from being a transgender woman, and
Mm-hmm.
all I know is those walks of lives of past, present, all
Mm-hmm.
around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
I would never know what it really means to have a bladder. I would never know